Anxiety. It doesn't have to be your enemy. Good to see you. I'm Dr. Wes, clinical psychologist and advocate for your well-being. I was just one click away from accidentally deleting the entire video footage of my son's wedding. It was the only copy. There was no backups. In fact, trying to make a backup copy is what got me into trouble in the first place. I intended to click duplicate, but somehow I ended up clicking delete. It all happened so fast, and with the same swiftness, I felt myself going headlong into a panic attack. My anxiety was off the charts. I felt an absolute lack of control over the situation. In fact, I knew that just one more wrong move and I could destroy the memory keeping of my son and his beautiful bride's wedding forever. Was I wrong to be anxious? I mean, was this an indicator that somehow I lacked the courage to be able to face a tough situation with bravery? Absolutely not. There are moments in life when anxiety, also traditionally known as fear, is an appropriate response. Sometimes we face the prospects of calamity, and anxiety is our mind's way of letting us know that we are facing possible danger. It is totally human to be anxious from time to time. Anxiety is not the enemy, but do you know what is the enemy? It is when we become imprisoned by anxiety and we just can't get out of it. As with most mental conditions, there is a range of experience from very mild to absolutely debilitating. However, on that day when I discovered, much to my horror, that I was just one click away from erasing from history the video footage of my son and daughter-in-law's wedding, I was so stressed. My hands were shaking, my breathing was rapid and shallow, fueled by a massive dose of adrenaline. My heart was pounding like a kick drum, and in that moment, I thought to myself, I think I'm about to have a panic attack. I felt super vulnerable. That experience, along with a few other episodes in my life, has given me great empathy for those who experience anxiety at that high, debilitating level. So when I say anxiety is not your enemy, in no way do I want to downplay the seriousness of panic attacks or acute anxiety disorders that would stand in the way of people participating in activities of normal daily living. But as a clinical psychologist, I'm also concerned that we have developed a societal belief that life at its best is a life without anxiety. And this belief sets people up to be fearful of anxiety. People then become anxious about being anxious. The truth is, anxiety can be quite helpful. Let me give you an example. The thought of being in a car accident and being ejected from the vehicle produces within me an anxiety that motivates me to make sure that I'm always wearing a seatbelt when I'm in a moving vehicle. Keeping with the same theme, the thought of being pulled over by a law enforcement officer and fined and ticketed for not wearing a seatbelt produces a low-grade anxiety within me that motivates me to keep wearing my seatbelt. The complicated and fast-paced world in which we live provides ample opportunity for us to get into trouble. Having anxiety about the possibility of us getting into trouble can make us more thoughtful in the way that we move through life. The main message I want to convey is to not fear anxiety. It's a normal part of the human experience, and it can be, on occasion, quite helpful. Even on that day when I felt myself sliding into a panic attack over my son's wedding video footage, anxiety played an important role. It motivated me to step away from the computer, to take some deep breaths, and to ground myself once again and regain that sense of calm and composure. My shaking hands and palpitating heart was not going to help me undo that mistake. Anxiety encouraged me to step away from impending peril. The anxiety got me to resist making any more computer moves until I had calmed down and regained my composure. Now, as an aside, I have heard that there are computer geniuses that can reach deep into a computer's hard drive and retrieve deleted files, but I've also heard that those geniuses are super expensive, and the thought of that cost also makes me anxious. A fulfilling life is not one that is free from all anxiety. A fulfilling life is one in which we manage our anxieties in a healthy way. And I say a healthy way because there are so many unhealthy ways that we can cope with our anxieties, such as isolating ourselves or distracting ourselves with behaviors that make us feel good in the moment but lead to long-term damage. So make a point of managing your anxiety in a way that promotes health, causes personal growth, and increases your empathy for other people. Do you want some examples of healthy ways to manage your anxiety? I thought you would. The first one is preemptive. Don't fear anxiety. Anxiety is not the enemy. Fearing anxiety will just make you more anxious. Tell yourself that experiencing anxious thoughts is a normal part of life, and that anxiety can be managed just like you would manage your finances or manage your relationships. Unless, of course, your finances and relationships are the source of your anxiety, in which case you would do well to go and see a counselor or a life coach. Secondly, there's a lot of scientific research and clinical evidence that supports doing the following as a way of dealing with anxiety. Deep breathing exercises, such as box breathing. And there are several other techniques. Look them up, try them, see if they help you. Meditation, social support, friends, being a part of a community group, having a hobby, physical exercise, and probably the most effective one of all, and that is getting your eyes off yourself and your own problematic situations and focusing your attention and efforts towards helping other people. These management techniques, along with a multitude of other practices, can vastly help you manage your anxiety. The key is to choose ones that work for you. And thirdly, and finally, if you find yourself stuck in a rut of anxiety and you just can't seem to dig your way out of it, no matter what technique you use, then go and see a counselor. They can help you identify an effective anxiety management plan that works for you. Remember, anxiety is not the enemy. Handled right, anxiety can help you to grow and increase your empathy for others. This could be good for you. I'm Dr. Wes. Here's to making life better. Whew, it's getting dark and cold here in Krakow, Poland.